Then I met another gentleman. These men were always older than me, a lot older than me. I met another guy that swept me off my feet, charmed me. I thought he was a good dad. And the same happened there, the control, the beatings, they got severe. That went on for 4 years. And then I ended up in hospital with broken ribs, broken bones. So they would put me on really strong painkillers like morphine. And then I would come out and I would take those painkillers. When the pain stopped, I would continue to take them because I was thinking, because when I took the painkillers, they made you feel numb. So I wasn't in pain no more, but I continued taking the painkillers so I could live this life. Because I never left them. Never. Other people would phone the police. I have phoned the police on a few occasions, but they were very clever and manipulative. My ex, if somebody had phoned the police, he would, before the police came, I remember on one occasion he picked up Mr. Sheen bottle of polish, he was on the side, and started smashing himself in the face with it. So when the police opened the door, he'd say, look, she's crazy, she's just beaten me up. And the police didn't, because I would, at that point, because the police were there, I would then be brave enough to, and I was like, get him out to you, you know, get him out to you. But they thought that I was the crazy one because I was screaming. How they perceived me was probably a normal, maybe nervous girl that was a drug addict probably. They probably looked at me and thought, oh, look at her, she's on drugs, and look at him, poor him, you got to put up with her. Because on file, I was always on a prescription. So he wasn't. So, and he'd be like, yeah, she's really hard work, yeah, I've done this with her, yeah, I've told her she's got to cut down on this. Yeah, do you see what I mean? So he had full control, and they probably seen me as a nervous addict that was hard work, even though I was quiet. And I just answered the questions. I never talked freely like I'm talking to you. They would ask me a question and I would answer yes or no if I didn't have to elaborate. And then I'd be thinking, oh, and if I got it wrong, I'd leave the meeting or the appointment and I'd get a smash in the face straight away. Even at that point, they knew the amount of drugs I had inside me, the diazepam, the Valium. Nobody asked the questions. Nobody asked me if I was okay. Nobody said, do you want to go and speak to a counsellor or psychologist? Because obviously you've got a lot of stuff. They just thought I was a junkie, a crazy junkie. Even though I was quiet, they do judge you when they look at your file. People do. I know they don't mean to. I can be judgmental sometimes and look at my past. But I don't know how I come across. I can only imagine that they took one look at my file and took one look at me and probably thought, well, maybe I deserved it. That's what I felt like. They thought that I deserved it, you know, that it was my own fault. Because I believed that too. I find it hard to take out of my head that if only one person had noticed and one person had told me how different and my life could have been, and that my children wouldn't have had to go through what they went through and I wouldn't have had to go through. I don't blame them. It's not their fault. It's not my fault neither. I've now been able to say that. It's not my fault neither. But I only wish that, my biggest regret, I only wish that they had took me and they had told me. Because they obviously knew. I just wish they were more educated and trained. Because there were some young ones and there were some different ones. And there was ones that lasted long. I just wish that they'd pulled me into one room and just said, you know what, you're safe here. You can tell me anything. If you want me, I can take you away from this guy. I just only wish that they had said that. Because things would have been so different. Take a look behind, why is she an addict? Why is this guy sat next to her? Why is this guy answering her questions? Hang on a minute now, do you know what I mean? Just Just think for that for one moment, and then even if you can't do nothing about it then, go away, talk to your line manager or your colleagues and see then if on the next appointment maybe you can pull me into a little room and say, oh, sorry Mr. So-and-so, do you mind if we just see Emma for 5 minutes? It's just that, I don't know, anything, like we've got a training nurse here that, I can think of loads of scenarios, because that is one of my biggest regrets, that I could have not gone through as much. Not that it's their fault, but if I was told sooner about women's aid, I could have been taken away, I could have been put in a car. And remember, we are human beings at the end of the day, and we don't wake up one morning and decide to take drugs. We don't wake up one morning and decide to have children in addiction. I just would have loved it if they didn't judge me and they seen the fact that I was a human being. But I'm not saying everybody does it, but in my experience, that's how it was for me. I was judged.